we are so thrilled to welcome our next guest. You know him well. It is Chris Ault here inside our Legends Bay Lounge. CA, how's things going, my friend?
Full speed, Mike. Walk fast and don't look back.
That's the thing. You've stayed busy even outside of your coaching time with Nevada. Of course, a part of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee now. I know you cannot get into specifics because what happens behind those closed doors, we're all still wondering. But what's it been like to be a part of this, such a huge part of the game nowadays?
Oh, it's awesome. It really has been, when you talk about a capstone to a career, for me, this is it, because you're dealing with the country and all of football, and the people. There's 13 people on the committee, usually 6 to 7 athletic directors from the majors, and then you've got a couple pro Hall of Famers. It's just been an awesome experience, and they're good people. They love football, they study it, and in my opinion, the committee, we just have so much information given to us and able to vote for these teams. And our number one job is this, to pick the top 25 teams. I mean, all the other stuff is peripheral, but that's our job, and that's what we're supposed to do. And of course, each year now it's become bigger and bigger and bigger. You
said they just give you hordes and hordes of film, and being the football junkie you are, it's got to be so cool to just dial it up and watch all these best teams across the country.
It's awesome, Mike. Sunday mornings by 6 o'clock, every game that was played Saturday or the Thursday games included, you have on your iPad.
Wow.
And we can review them. So you'll pick, maybe 10, 15 games you want to watch within a 4-day period. And it's been awesome for me. And I also see some plays I like, and I jot them down and say, hey, who knows?
I'm curious, when you see that pistol offense get set up, does it trigger you a little bit?
It sets me off. And I'm excited to watch them because I'm seeing them do some things with the pistol that I didn't think of. It really is awesome, Mike. So I haven't stopped learning. I'm excited about it. I get with that committee, and this year we'll have 3 coaches on the committee. Last year we had 4. And they look to the coaches to come up and talk like coaches. I mean, here's what we think.
That's great. That's so cool. And your mark on the game goes without saying, here locally and abroad. We'll get into it coming up. We should let the folks know you are going to be the honored speaker at the Governor's Dinner, which you've seen so many of these things go down over the last 5+ decades. What's it mean to be a part of this now, coming up on July 15th out in Carson City?
Well, thank you, Mike. And I am honored. And, 56th Governor's Dinner, this is real tradition. A lot of people say they talk about tradition, but you don't have it. And when you can connect the past with the present, you got a real chance, and that's what this governor's deal is going to do. So I'm really excited about it. It's going to be great to see some old friends and make some new acquaintances. I
want to get into some of the stories you're going to tell here momentarily, but as we tape here this morning, topical news: the House versus NCAA settlement, billions of dollars set to be distributed to former NCAA athletes, and essentially this opens the door for these athletes to now be treated like employees and to revenue share with these schools. Your thoughts on this whole situation and where the game is at nowadays?
Well, it's out of control. I mean, this is just me.
Yeah.
Nobody else's opinion, and I really feel strongly the problem is there's no leadership. I mean, you've got the Southeast Conference and the Big Ten doing what they can. Football. That's 34 teams. So they've got a lot of voice and stuff, and it's all delegated around football. See, basketball was smart, Mike. I just mentioned this to you. They've got their thing down pat. If they want to add some teams, they can do it easily because that playing platform is level.
Yeah.
The Gonzagas of the world can play the Notre Dames and that and be even. We aren't there. So I see a lot happening. And I think it's great that the players are getting paid. I do feel they should be paid. However, the atmosphere now for why you're going to a school is much different than it was when I was coaching.
And ultimately, you still bleed silver and blue, maybe more than ever, and you want to see the university succeed, and it almost feels like the haves and the have-nots are getting further separated. Does something got to change here for a Nevada to still stick out?
Let me tell you this, Mike. You're right. I mean, I want Nevada to win in everything. I'm not just talking football. I mean everything, and I feel we can. We've just got to. I want to, in the governor's dinner, I'm going to talk about it briefly, but we went through, in my 41 years there, we went through 3 divisions and 4 conferences. And every time we made a move, you had to gear up a little bit more. We never had the fulls. I never had 85 full scholarships at this level, but we found a way. And so I've got some things I'd like to share that I hope will be optimistic for people to understand, but it is about Nevada. And the great thing about the governor's dinner, it's not about football. It's not about basketball. It's about the University of Nevada. And we are one. We are Nevada.
Year two for Jeff Choate. What have been your thoughts with Coach Choate? As it seems that he has some momentum, of course, just 3 wins a year ago, but he seems, at least from my impression, the right guy for this gig.
There's no question about it. I like Jeff a lot. What I've told him, and I tell his staff, whatever I can do to be of help, I'm there for you. You think about it now, Mike. We had 4 ball games come down to the fourth quarter. We couldn't pull the trigger quite yet.
A lot of close games last year.
Yeah, we had chances. So, that's the optimism. And I think now the coaches, Jeff comes in last year, and of course the portal's open. You're just trying to grab. They've got a better chance now to know the type of player that they want. That's right. And now they'll coach them to their level. And he's a good football coach. He's got a good staff. I'm excited about this year for him. I really am.
His first win last season at Texas State, he quickly jumped on social media after, and he quoted you, "Find a way to find a way." What did it mean that he channeled you immediately, and also that he's still channeling you in this current iteration of the program?
Well, it excites me just to be a part of something that's good. And like I say, anything I could give him or he wants to do, he's got from me. But I was excited about that. That's that thing that we call Nevada-tude.
You're out of practice here and there. Is it tough to, do you feel that little trigger like you want to yell at a kid if you see him make a mistake? Or are you pretty good about just kind of being the observer now?
Well, I've gotten a lot better. There's a few times, I mean, but it is, I go to practice at least once a week, just to see him, and it's fun for me. I still love football. I see as much football now as I did when I coached. And I love to go there. We talk, we exchange ideas and thoughts. But Jeff has been very open to me. He's been great, and he's the right guy for this job. We've got to step up and Steve Alford. These are really good football coaches. And look what we did in spring with baseball and softball.
Come on, right?
Come on, we got some championships there now.
That we do. And so, momentum on campus regardless of sport. All right, I want to jump into some old stories, can we? I'm going to do my best to go chronological. For folks that aren't going to be at the governor's dinner, we're just going to get some little nuggets.
So now you're calling me old, huh?
Well,
okay, I got you.
I didn't mean to use that word. Distinguished.
Oh, God.
How about coming from San Bernardino in the early to mid-'60s, your first impression of the biggest little city? What do you remember about even how you got here and all that?
Well, my mom and dad drove me up for the visit. And Dick Trachok, who is one of my mentors, somebody I love very much, but was the coach then. And we knew nothing about, I'd never been out of California, ever. And came up to Reno, Nevada. We loved the surrounding the city. The stadium, was the old stadium, which sat 5,000 on the west side and 2,500, about 2,000 for the students. And it had the beautiful dorms behind it for the players. So I love the atmosphere of the University of Nevada. The way I got up here is my high school coach graduated from Nevada, Joe Lash. And I was going to San Diego State. They were a Division II program back then. And he called me one day. He says, I just want you to look at Nevada. He says, I went up there. He was a California guy. He says, I think you'll like it. And he knew a couple people called Trachok, and boom, we went from there and never left.
So really, this whole community and thousands of people have Joe Lash to thank for getting you here, it sounds like.
Or throw the arrows at him. But yeah.
All right, in that same breath, what's the best memory, highlight of your playing career in Silver and Blue?
Well, the one that I'm most excited for involved Dick Trachok. It was when we opened the stadium, the current stadium. Stadium sat 5,000 and then 2,500 with the students on, and that's where we put the team on the east side. And we played Santa Barbara. They were ranked at that time, I want to say, in Division II, 10th in the country. It was the opening game at this stadium, and it was Dick's biggest win. I forget, we beat him 34-16, something like that. But it was his biggest win of his career. I was a sophomore quarterback, and I've never forgot that, just how happy, excited he was, because Santa Barbara at that time was really a good football team.
How cool. R.I.P. to the great Coach Trachok. What do you remember about taking over the reins as head coach and how that came about and what you were feeling when you became the head coach at the University of Nevada?
Oh, Mike, it's December 21st, 1975, and I remember when Coach called me. He says, "Okay, we're going with you." I mean, you can't imagine, Mike. I'm 29 years old. I become the youngest head football coach in America, and you're going to coach at your alma mater? You kidding me? I couldn't get up here fast enough.
How incredible. Fast forward a handful of years, first Big Sky title. Also, you were the coach of the year in 1983. What do you remember about that season?
What I remember about that season, it was, I think it's 39 years since the last championship at the University of Nevada. That's how big that was. And that's also the first year that Eric Beavers took over at quarterback for us, 83, 84, 85, 86. He's the winningest quarterback in the history of the University of Nevada.
There's a fun fact for you.
Oh, he was legit.
Where does the creation of the pistol offense fall in the chronological time, and how did that all happen?
Well, when I had retired in after the 95 season, okay, I was going to be AD and we're going from there. And 7 years later, you know, it's amazing, Mike. When I got out in 95, 96, we won a championship. Coach Tisdale, my quarterback. And I'm excited. I'm thinking, God, this is, you know, you gave it to somebody. They're winning a championship.
Success continues, yep.
We're going to be good. From 1996 or 97 till 2004, we did not have a winning season at the University of Nevada. In the 18 previous years, were really good.
Pretty much every season was a winning season.
Yeah, I mean, it was, so anyway, we had lost the community, we had lost the players. I came back in 2004. We went 5-7, and I said, this can't happen. And we, you know, my staff went recruiting. They were all gone. Coaches only at that time could only go out one time a year to visit the recruits. Wow. So I had that time, and I said, I'm going to try to come up with something. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I got to change the demeanor of this team. We got to get something, you know, that is us, that is ours. And it was a pistol. And God bless those players and coaches, it became something.
How does that first idea come up? The half of a shotgun running back behind him. I mean, do you just throw in, speaking of throwing darts, or are you just kind of looking at formations?
The guy that paid the dues was Jim Master, my backfield coach, because I would grab.
And now the running backs coach again. How about that?
Yeah, he'll be very good for him. But I'd grab Jim down the locker room. I didn't tell him what I was doing. I said, put the tape there. We're going to. What I wanted to do, Mike, was this. What I thought in the pistol, if we could move the quarterback off the ball and catch it earlier and get the ball to the running back faster, he'd have more room to make a cut instead of being under center like we always were. And we were a very good underneath center. I mean, we were a very good football team. Mm-hmm. You know, led the nation in throwing and all this stuff in spite of the coaching. That's how good we were. So, but we put it down and we put the quarterback at a depth of 4 yards with his toes on 4, running back with his toes on 3. And so that was the same. The running back's depth was the same as it was in our one-back offense that we had. But the idea now, getting the quarterback off the ball, he'd catch it faster, give it to him sooner, the back would have much more time to make a cut.
He's got some time and room to work.
Yeah. And, you know, Mike, at first, it didn't look good. We lost our first game to Washington State. I'll never forget, and I had my offensive line coach come in. He says, Coach, maybe we're walking off the field. He says, maybe we ought to, you know, just use that as a change-up. And I looked him in the eye and said, we're either going to sink or swim with this thing. We got to give these kids something that's theirs. And it was Jeff Rowe was the quarterback. He was a great quarterback for us.
Yeah, and local product.
He turned it for us, and we win the championship.
And then now you're seeing the pistol run quite literally around the world.
It really is, Mike. It's fun, and I look at it, and I study it and look at it. It's awesome.
Oh, congrats on that, sir. I jumped ahead a little bit, but I want to go back to 1991 and that epic comeback against Weber State, down 35 in the second half. Can you still not believe that happened?
I still see it. But that's when Chris Vargas, the Magic Man, you know, one of my favorite, he's just a great person. And he came in, and that's right, it's the greatest comeback in college football history, still is. Mm-hmm. I think it was Illinois, one of those tied it eventually, but we were the first ones to do it. But it was unbelievable, Mike. And the fun thing about it that I enjoyed, and I tease our crowd about it, that game was so bad as we came back at halftime.
Everybody left, yeah.
Oh, yeah. If I could have left, I would have left. You
got to catch the rest of it, though.
Oh, yeah. But and the next thing you know, it's boom, boom, boom. And we suspended Brian Reeves, our number one. He was an All-American wide receiver for an incident and stuff, and it did hurt us. But boom, boom, boom. And all of a sudden, you know, you felt the momentum and stuff. So when we won the game, I loved the community because there wasn't one person I ever talked to that missed that game in this community.
Oh, cool. I believe it. They all stayed till the end, right? Was there a special halftime speech there, or was it like, let's just see if we can get one and see what happens?
You know, Mike, I know it would have been something like, we can't be this bad.
Yeah.
I really
What the
don't
heck
remember
was
that.
that?
Yeah.
All right, so the next season you go from D1 AA up to the Division I Single A ranks, and sure enough, I think this is one of your prouder accomplishments. 1992 season, you win another conference championship. Only or first team to ever do that, rise a rank and win a championship.
Yeah, and we had to get the stadium up to 30,000, so that was millions of dollars that we had to put in the program to get it there. And the great thing about it, Mike, that you forget, I didn't forget because I was AD then at the time, is you're not only moving your football team to another league or another division, but you're moving it the whole university. And the beautiful thing about that move in 1992 to go to FBS was that we would now get to play more West Coast school. In the Big Sky, it was the mountain schools, the Montanas, the Weavers, and they were great. They were good programs, but they didn't have all the women's programs to offer at that particular time. And so, our identification with the West, which we still have now, that's where it really started for both men and women.
And that's the thing, it opened it up much more than just football. All right, let's jump ahead now. I want to know the first time you ever crossed paths with the skinny kid from Turlock, Colin Kaepernick. How did he end up in silver and blue? There's got to be a great story there.
It is. It's a long story, so I won't bore you. But Barry Sachs recruited that San Joaquin Valley, and that's where Fresno. And we owned it. We owned that valley. I mean, Virgil Green. I mean, I can go down a list of players. They were just great. But Cap was playing basketball. And, his rating as a quarterback were okay, nothing special. And Barry said, I just want you to come down and watch this kid. He's a lanky kid, coach, and, he's a quarterback. And I said, okay, when I come down to visit, we'll go. So we went and I saw him playing basketball. And, I mean, he's leading the fast break. He's hitting outside threes. And I said, Barry, you get a hold of him. You tell him he's got a scholarship. And if he can't play quarterback, he's going to go to wide receiver, DB. I mean, a good athlete.
You'll find a place for him.
Yeah, I wonder where they are. This guy's a good athlete. But I said, he's got to come to my football camp in summer. I want to have him. So he did. We went from there.
Wow. And sure enough, he had played a little bit, but it was that Fresno State game that really he had a sort of coming out party. What do you remember about that game and just watching him run up and down that field?
That's when Graziano broke his toe.
Yeah.
And Cap, it's great. I don't want to spoil it because I want to tell this at the governor's dinner. But anyway, he did come in and had a terrific game and never looked back.
Did not. And quite a ride that you took him on and quite a ride he took you on. Next season, the 2009 season, still the only team to have 3,000-yard rushers. I know that's toward the top as far as accomplishments for you. Shout out to Luke Lippincott, Vitala, and Colin Kaepernick. What a crazy year.
Good job, Mike. You got it.
My sophomore year of school. Great times.
And you, Mike, now that I'm out of it, you look back and you say, that's not going to happen again. Not at the same
Especially
school.
the way the game is played now.
Well,
too.
you might get 3,000, but they're going to be transfers.
Great call.
These guys, I mean, it's the University of Nevada, and I'm not just talking football. I go to basketball, and I go to Otis Burrell, the first 7-foot high jumper at our university, Jackie Jensen, who coached our baseball. These were guys that were really special to our university that won't lose their place, and it's got Nevada written on it.
Yeah, how cool. And then, of course, the 2010 team. Still talked about so much nowadays, and I can't believe we're coming up on 15 years since that epic November win over Boise State. I guess specifically that game and just that season, I know it probably is still near and dear to you.
Oh, it was special, Mike. I mean, it really was. And the greatest, it's the greatest sporting event to ever hit the University of Nevada. Now, let me clarify, because Trent Johnson will be mad at me, because when they went to the Sweet 16, that was huge.
That was pretty good.
Major, well, not pretty good. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
But the difference was fans couldn't travel that far, so we watched it on TV. This thing was, in San Francisco, and out of the 40,000, we had 30,000 Nevada people. I remember the rally the night before, there was 5,000 people. It was awesome. It was just something that, you'll never forget. Those people involved have never forgot. And the sad thing about it, Mike, our offense played average at best at that game. Our defense
Still handled,
saved us.
you're talking about Boston College,
Yeah,
game, correct? Yes,
yeah,
still
yeah.
handled them, though.
Yeah.
The
Still
defense
beat 'em.
was incredible, playing there at AT&T Stadium. I remember being there. It was not the best weather, if I remember correctly.
It was okay.
But I have a fun fact about that trip, just to let you know how important it was to me. My now wife, that was the first time I told her that I loved her, was on that trip. Can you believe that?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't that incredible?
I want your number. I'm going to call her.
All right, that'd be great. We'll film a little video for her or something. All right, now, how about going to coach in Italy? You get done at Nevada, a handful of years later, you end up in Milan, Italy, you win a championship. What was that experience like?
Well, Mike, here's the first thing. Well, I can't tell you everything.
Not everybody's going to get to go to the governor's dinner, though.
Okay,
So
well,
you can give us a little bit.
It was 2016, and when I was a consultant with the Chiefs, they had a kicking coach there, was from Italy, and I was going to be with the Chiefs for 2 years and then move on and do some other stuff. I had no aspiration to go in pro football.
Yeah.
Anyway, he had told me he's got some Italian friends back. They have American football there. They'd love to have you bring that pistol over there because nobody's got it. I didn't think much about it, and I thought, Then eventually I thought, well, it might be kind of fun. You know, we'd never been to Europe and so on and so forth. Anyway, went over, and it was a great experience. It was a super experience.
Yeah, what a cool thing to say you did. Coach football
Mike,
in Italy.
It was awesome.
What's the game like over there? I mean, do they love it?
Well, here's the deal. Well, soccer's the game.
Of course.
But here's what they had, which I never realized. Italy, they had 12 what we'd call varsity football teams here, and then 12 JV teams. So there's 24.
So kind of how they do with soccer, like club, lower level teams. Okay.
Yeah, it's all American football. Most of the I shouldn't say most of the head coaches. There's 3 or 4 Americans that coach it, but they want to learn the game. They want to learn it right. You know, and it was a great experience.
How cool. What a treat to run through some of those stories. We'll save the rest for the governor's dinner.
Thank you.
But one thing we have to mention, and you alluded to the success that Trent Johnson had as Nevada's basketball coach. You hired Trent Johnson as the athletic director, which you spent a few decades as the AD, balancing that role and being the head football coach. I don't know if anyone could do that nowadays, but the university, as we know it, was not like that when you were the AD, and you were able to help transform athletics. So you're not just a Nevada football guy. You're all about all the sports, and you had your fingerprints all over it. I guess what makes you the most proud when you look back at those administrative years?
Oh, well, first of all, I had a great administrative staff. I really did. I mean, they were as good as you can have. And in those years, from 1986 to 2003, I mean, the transformation we made in intercollegiate athletics at the university were phenomenal. I mean, they're unparalleled right now. And that staff of mine was awesome. They were just great. At the end of my career, when I came back in 2004, I gave up the AD part and just was the football coach, thank God, you know. But the time as an AD, we did so. The community was so awesome to us, and hiring Trent Johnson, probably, even football-wise, might be the best hire I ever made.
Could be.
Special.
There's an argument to be made for sure.
Well, look what he did. He brings Mark in, Foxy.
Keeps
Foxy
it going.
goes 5 years, and we were rolling. Yeah.
Coach, your last note for folks who are watching and are wondering what the future of Wolfpack Athletics holds and how they can maybe play a role in it, your plea to folks on trying to get this thing continued to rise up.
Well, listen, here's how I felt then. I still feel this way now. College athletics have changed. There's no question about it. Money's involved, and that's not going to change. But we've been down the road before. We have. It's a matter of the coaches within their sports finding a way, finding their niche, and getting it going, which is going to happen. And like I said, you saw it happen in springtime with softball and baseball. I mean, you saw it. So it's not easy. But the great thing, Mike, that I had that I love, I've always appreciated, and I've never forgot, was the community. They were just awesome to us, and without them, there'd be nothing here. My life and my wife's adult life has always been about the University of Nevada, and the people that were part of the University of Nevada and outside of it that supported us.
And we do need to give Kathy some kudos for keeping you on your best behavior over the years.
Oh, God, yeah, there's no question.
And shout out to your entire family. Coach, thank you so much for being gracious with your time. Thank you for always supporting us here at Nevada Sportsnet, and thank you for stopping in today.
Well, you guys do a great job. I'm glad to be
you.
part of it.
Appreciate
Thank you
so much.